The Internal Revenue Service, a name that evokes a mixture of dread and duty in the hearts of Americans. It's the agency entrusted with a monumental task, collecting the taxes that fund our nation. From roads and bridges to schools and national defense, the IRS plays a silent but vital role in keeping America running. But what happens when this cornerstone of our government is shaken to its core? In 2025, a new era dawned on the IRS. Elon Musk, the tech titan known for his ventures into space and electric vehicles, set his sights on a new frontier government efficiency. His weapon of choice? The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a task force with a mandate to streamline and modernize federal agencies. The IRS, with its sprawling bureaucracy and reputation for complexity, became their prime target. The changes were swift and brutal. Long-time employees found themselves out of work, replaced by algorithms and automated systems. The agency's focus shifted from meticulous audits to rapid revenue collection. The once dreaded taxman was undergoing a radical transformation, one that promised efficiency but threatened to upend decades of precedent. The first casualty of the DOGE revolution was the IRS workforce. On May 5, 2025, a wave of pink slips swept through the agency, leaving a trail of shattered careers and uncertain futures. 31% of the agency's auditors, the very people tasked with scrutinizing tax returns and catching cheats, were gone, a staggering blow that sent shockwaves through the agency. It wasn't just auditors feeling the heat. DOGE's efficiency drive targeted every corner of the IRS, slashing the overall workforce by a staggering 40%. Experienced agents with years of institutional knowledge were shown the door. Phones went unanswered, tax refunds were delayed, and a backlog of cases piled up, creating chaos for taxpayers and employees alike. The justification for these drastic cuts? Savings. DOGE boasted of saving taxpayers billions of dollars by trimming the fat from the IRS. But critics argued that these short-term gains came at a steep price. The agency was hemorrhaging experienced personnel, leaving it ill-equipped to handle the complexities of the tax code and pursue wealthy tax dodgers. The DOGE takeover wasn't just about numbers, it was about power. Elon Musk, used to calling the shots in his own companies, found himself in a tug-of-war with the entrenched bureaucracy of the IRS and the Treasury Department. The appointment of acting IRS Commissioner Gary Shapley was a flashpoint. Shapley, a career IRS official, lasted just 3 days in his role before being unceremoniously ousted. His replacement, Michael Fulkender, a former Treasury official with close ties to the Trump administration. The move reeked of political maneuvering, with accusations flying that Musk was installing his own people to further his agenda. The power struggle within the IRS went beyond personnel changes. It was a clash of cultures, a battle between the old guard and the new. The agency found itself caught in the middle, its mission and integrity hanging in the balance. At the heart of the DOGE controversy lay a treasure trove of information, the IRS's Integrated Data Retrieval System, or IDRS. This system housed the financial secrets of every American taxpayer, social security numbers, bank account details, tax returns, a goldmine of sensitive data, and DOGE wanted access. The request set off alarm bells. Senators Ron Wyden and Elizabeth Warren, known for their staunch defense of privacy rights, fired off a scathing letter to the IRS demanding answers. What safeguards were in place to prevent misuse of this data? Was DOGE a wolf in sheep's clothing, using the guise of efficiency to gain access to information it could exploit? The public was equally outraged. Social media erupted in a firestorm of debate. Some lauded DOGE's efforts to modernize the IRS, while others feared the creation of a surveillance state, with their financial lives laid bare before an unelected tech mogul. Section 5. The price of efficiency. For everyday Americans, the DOGE experiment was a mixed bag. On the one hand, the promise of a more efficient IRS held some appeal. Who wouldn't want simpler tax filing processes and faster refunds? But these potential benefits were overshadowed by growing concerns about fairness and access. The gutting of the IRS's auditing division sent a clear message. The wealthy and powerful had little to fear from the new taxman. With fewer auditors to scrutinize complex tax returns, the ultra-rich were free to exploit loopholes and shelter their fortunes, shifting the burden of taxation onto the shoulders of ordinary Americans. Moreover, the mass layoffs and reduction in services left many taxpayers stranded. Phone lines were perpetually jammed, leaving people with unanswered questions and unresolved issues. The IRS's website, once a source of helpful information, became a labyrinth of broken links and outdated forms. Efficiency, it seemed, had come at a steep human cost. Section 6. The Untouchables. While average Americans struggled to navigate the new reality of a DOGE-controlled IRS, the wealthy elite had little to worry about. The IRS division responsible for auditing high-net-worth individuals, the large business unit, had been decimated, leaving a gaping hole in the agency's ability to hold the wealthiest Americans accountable. This wasn't just a matter of lost revenue, it was a matter of fairness and the rule of law. When the wealthy can evade taxes with impunity, it erodes trust in the system and creates a two-tiered society where the rules apply differently depending on the size of your bank account. The gutting of the large business unit was a boon to tax avoidance schemes and offshore havens. It sent a clear message that the era of accountability for the wealthiest Americans was over. The DOGE revolution, it seemed, was less about efficiency and more about consolidating power and wealth at the very top. Section 7. A system on the brink. The consequences of DOGE's actions extended far beyond the walls of the IRS. The agency's weakened state threatened to unravel the delicate fabric of America's social contract. The ability to collect taxes effectively and fairly is the bedrock of a functioning democracy. Without it, the government's ability to provide essential services and ensure a basic standard of living for its citizens is severely compromised. The IRS's depleted workforce and diminished capacity created a ripple effect throughout the economy. Delays in tax refunds meant less money flowing back into the pockets of consumers, impacting businesses and slowing down economic growth. The lack of enforcement against tax cheats created an uneven playing field, disadvantaging honest taxpayers and undermining the integrity of the market. The DOGE experiment had transformed the IRS from a respected, if sometimes feared, institution into a shadow of its former self. Morale among the remaining employees plummeted, and the agency's reputation lay in tatters. The once mighty taxman had been brought to its knees, leaving a void that threatened to swallow the very principles of fairness and accountability on which America was built. Section 8. A legacy tarnished. The turmoil at the IRS under DOGE's watch left an indelible mark on the agency and the nation. The pursuit of efficiency at all costs had come at a steep price, eroding public trust, exacerbating inequality, and jeopardizing the government's ability to function effectively. Elon Musk, the architect of this radical transformation, seemed to have moved on to new ventures, leaving behind a legacy of chaos and uncertainty at the IRS. The agency's future remained precarious, its ability to fulfill its vital role in doubt. The question lingered, could the IRS ever recover from the DOGE experiment, or had the damage been done? The consequences of DOGE's actions would continue to reverberate for years to come. The erosion of the IRS's capacity and integrity had far-reaching implications for the nation's economic well-being and the very fabric of American society. The pursuit of efficiency, it seemed, had come at a dangerous cost. Section 9. The future of fairness. The IRS, once a symbol of American efficiency and fairness, now stood at a crossroads. The DOGE experiment had exposed deep flaws in the agency's structure and highlighted the dangers of prioritizing short-term gains over long-term stability. The path forward remained unclear, but one thing was certain: a return to the status quo was not an option. Rebuilding the IRS would require a fundamental reassessment of its mission and a commitment to restoring public trust. Investing in technology and streamlining processes could enhance efficiency without sacrificing fairness. Attracting and retaining a skilled workforce would be crucial to rebuilding the agency's capacity and expertise. But perhaps the most important step in restoring the IRS to its former glory would be to reaffirm its commitment to fairness and equity. Ensuring that all Americans, regardless of their wealth or status, contribute their fair share to the common good is essential for a just and prosperous society. The future of the IRS, and indeed the future of America, depended on it.